Hi, Emily here. In this video, I'd like to explain some of the reasoning and details behind the diet plan I've been on through Karen R. Hurd. This is a sequel video to a previous one I posted entitled Healing Through Food, Karen R. Hurd Eating Plan Testimony. So you'll probably want to watch that one first if you haven't already, and then come back to this one. So, why I was initially to eat beans 6 times a day, efficient proteins 6 times a day, vegetables 3 to 5 times a day, and then at least a half gallon of filtered water a day. And why was I to avoid all sugars and stimulants, including artificial sweeteners, caffeine, and perfumes or fragrances? I'm going to explain that. So beans. The reason behind the beans is because they are high in soluble fiber. 1/2 cup of beans contains about 5 grams, and soluble fiber is the substance that other substances bind to or with in our bodies, in our GI systems, and it's the vehicle by which things are carried out of our bodies. So without the regular presence of enough soluble fiber, our bodies aren't able to excrete all of the junk that can build up in our systems, and if we can't excrete it, it ends up staying in our system and creating problems for us. So the thought is, ingest soluble fiber on a regular basis, and you'll clean up your internal systems. And if the cleaner they are, the healthier you'll feel and be. And then beans compared to others. Why beans? Also because compared to other foods that contain soluble fiber, they actually have the highest soluble fiber content for the least amount per serving. So it just makes sense to eat beans rather than like 2.5 or 7 cups of oatmeal. So that's beans. Oh, and if you're concerned about beans causing gas, they actually don't. They actually help resolve gas issues. When you first start on higher amounts of soluble fiber, you may experience some extra gas as your body adjusts, but it's not the beans causing it. And you can read what Karen has to say about that and how she explains that by visiting her website, www.karenhurd.com, and then click on her Health Topics tab, and then on the Specific Health Concerns tab, and then select the topic, Why Beans Don't Cause Gas. Anyway, that's usually one of people's first thoughts when they're like, you eat that many beans? So they actually don't cause me any problems with gas. Okay, so what about the efficient proteins, which are your poultry, your fish, meats, seafoods, and eggs? From what I understand, our bodies need protein to build and repair, and it needs to be an efficient protein if we're going to be able to use it when we need it. There are other kinds of proteins, but they take longer to break down and become usable in our systems, so we want to put in efficient proteins because as soon as they're in our systems, our body can grab it and just go and just use it like it needs. Without enough usable protein present in our systems on an ongoing basis, our bodies lack what they need to heal and repair themselves. So the thought is regularly ingesting efficient protein gives our bodies the substance it needs to work on building itself up and healing. So essentially the beans, or the soluble fiber, is what carries out the garbage. It's what cleans up our bodies. And then the proteins, the efficient proteins, are what help build up our bodies and do the healing. And the sicker you are, the longer it generally takes. And then vegetables, well, they're all full of all sorts of nutrients our bodies need to function well and to be in balance. So just eating vegetables makes sense. That's where we're going to get all our vitamins, etc. or a majority of them. And then the water, not only is what helps keep things moving, especially if you're eating a lot of fiber, soluble fiber, but water is also like the spark to the fire of the healing process. It enables all the important actions that need to happen in our bodies in order for us to heal and be well. It enables those things to happen. It's kind of like, it's like the spark. It just sets all the chemical processes going that need to go for us to heal and be well. And so, beyond the soluble fiber, efficient protein, vegetables, and water, I also eat a lot of nuts and seeds, which contain healthy oils, non-saturated fats. And the reasoning behind the consumption of these, for me, is that they provide the good fats my body needs to produce the hormones my body needs to feel stable and to function properly. There's a whole lot of other benefits with healthy fats, but that's the main reason for me. And then, about the things that I am to avoid. I'm to avoid sugar, stimulants, including caffeine, artificial sweeteners, and fragrances. Why? Well, from what I understand, I would explain it this way. It's because these things cause an adrenal response in my body. It causes my body to spike up and then crash down and then kind of go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, while it restabilizes itself internally. And the regular doing of this causes the adrenal glands to get tired and eventually exhausted. And then the more exhausted they become, the more of a kick they're going to need from a stimulant to produce the hormones I need to feel alive and well and literally to function. So artificial sweeteners cause this reaction, this up-down reaction too in our bodies, because our bodies see them as a foreign substance in the bloodstream and will send out an attack squad to clear them out of the system, and that takes an adrenal response for that to happen. And then anytime we release adrenaline in a gush like that, we're going to have an up-down, 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 up-down reaction, which causes stress to our adrenal glands and really to all of our bodily systems. So other types of stress can cause this reaction to happen too. Not just the stress of stimulants in our system, but stresses like emotional stress, pushing ourselves too hard physically, and then also not getting enough good sleep or rest. So Karen's hypothesis in regards to me was that through the regular and overconsumption of or exposure to stimulants, plus prolonged high periods of high stress, my adrenal glands got really tired, and they just got to a point where they're like, okay, enough with the whipping, enough with the kicking. We can't produce enough of what you need to feel and be well anymore, and we're just gonna I don't know how to explain it. They don't stop, but they stop producing what they need to produce in order for you to feel well. So when my adrenal glands entered the state of just exhaustion, of just being done with the whipping and the pushing, I began experiencing things like chronic pain. And chronic pain because our body's natural anti-inflammatory agents, which are called corticosteroids, are actually produced in the adrenal glands. So if my adrenal glands aren't functioning or producing well, I'm not going to have enough of my body's natural steroids to manage the natural friction actions that occur in my body between my muscles, joints, nerves, even cells. So that can cause pain. And then also I began experiencing things like ongoing fatigue and anxiety and depression. And then my food sensitivities, sinus infections, headaches, etc., were all wrapped up in not having enough of what my body needed to keep itself healthy and running well. So, yeah, that's the basic reasoning of the diet, or kind of what's behind it, as I've come to understand it. I explained it in real, just simple terms. And if you want like the sciencey words and things, you can actually check out some of Karen's DVDs or talk to her yourself, and she could give you more of the big names and terms behind all of it. But that's basically what it is. And then, as I mentioned in my other video, you can visit Karen's website, and if you'd like to explore and learn more for yourself, you can check what she has to check out what she has to say for herself. So thanks for listening, and feel free to ask any questions. If I can't answer them, I'll try and direct you to a source or someone who can. So thanks, and eat well, be well. It works.